New video released by lawyers for actor Justin Baldoni shows unedited footage from the filming of It Ends With Us.
We just broke a shocking story. There is a rift, and I think that is an understatement of a word, a rift.
Taylor Swift and Blake Lively, two names that have long been synonymous with Hollywood camaraderie, glamorous double dates, and best friend goals. For years, these two powerhouses seemed untouchable in their friendship. They weren't just pals. They were family. Taylor was the godmother to Blake's children with Ryan Reynolds, a role that seemed to cement the depth of their bond. They weren't just occasionally photographed together at red carpet events. They were woven into each other's lives, both publicly and privately. But now, the cracks in their seemingly indestructible friendship are glaringly visible, and the fallout is proving to be as dramatic as any Hollywood blockbuster.
Morning, George. This is a big mess for everyone involved. The legal drama playing out in multiple courts now, literally from coast to coast, and all kinds of people close to these stars, from personal trainers to friends like Taylor Swift, finding their names mentioned as part of this ongoing fight.
Let's rewind to when everything still sparkled, when Taylor and Blake's friendship was the envy of fans worldwide. It wasn't uncommon to see them together at high-profile events, their smiles lighting up the cameras. Blake and Ryan were famously part of Taylor's close-knit circle, a group of celebrity confidants that's notoriously hard to crack. They'd cheer from private boxes at NFL games, attend exclusive parties at Taylor's Rhode Island mansion, and share candid, laughter-filled moments on social media. Taylor even immortalized their bond in her music, dropping the names of Blake and Ryan's children, James, Inez, and Betty, into her lyrics. It was the kind of friendship that felt untouchable, a golden alliance that no one could possibly imagine unraveling. But as we now know, things are never as perfect as they appear. The first cracks in this high-profile friendship didn't come in the form of a public spat or vague Instagram posts. They came quietly, almost imperceptibly. Whispers began to circulate when Taylor's boyfriend, NFL star Travis Kelce, allegedly unfollowed Ryan Reynolds on Instagram. A small act, seemingly insignificant, but in the context of their relationship, it was seismic. Fans on Reddit were quick to connect the dots, speculating that this wasn't just a coincidence. Was this a subtle message that Taylor and Blake were no longer on the same team?
So remember that what Taylor had told Justin was that Blake herself, she said, was Khaleesi, who was the queen in Game of Thrones, and Ryan, her husband, and Taylor were her dragons. Her best friend, although I think best friend is now past tense.
The timing couldn't have been more suspicious. At the heart of this unraveling lies a legal battle that has sent shockwaves through Hollywood. Blake Lively's explosive lawsuit against Justin Baldoni, her co-star and director in the film It Ends With Us. The allegations are severe, and the fallout has been messy, to say the least. But what really sent this drama into overdrive was the unexpected involvement of Taylor Swift. Her name appeared in legal documents, dragged into the fray through a series of text messages that painted her as one of Blake's so-called dragons. Yes, dragons. In messages reportedly exchanged between Blake and others, Taylor and Ryan were referred to as her protectors, her allies in this legal war. It was a metaphor ripped straight out of a fantasy epic, but it had very real consequences.
Now to the ongoing Hollywood drama everyone is talking about, the legal battle between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni.
For Taylor, this was the last thing she wanted. According to insiders, the pop star was blindsided by her name being used in such a high-stakes legal dispute, especially one she had no direct involvement in. Sources close to Taylor revealed that she felt deeply betrayed, used even, by Blake's decision to invoke her name as part of the lawsuit. And can you blame her? Being dragged into someone else's courtroom drama is bad enough, but for it to be someone you considered family? That's a whole different level of hurt. Things only escalated from there. Reports began to surface that Selena Gomez, Taylor's longtime best friend, had been skeptical of Blake from the start. According to sources, Selena had always found Blake's friendship with Taylor a bit off. She reportedly felt that Blake had latched on to Taylor, calling their bond odd and expressing concerns about Blake's intentions. And now, with Taylor's name caught in the crossfire of this legal mess, Selena's warning suddenly seemed prophetic. The whispers grew louder. Was Blake using her friendship with Taylor to bolster her position in the lawsuit? Was this entire friendship built on something less genuine than it appeared?
That Justin won't be bullied by Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. So his lawyer told us that their recent court filings show how scared they are.
And then came the social media drama. Travis Kelce's alleged decision to unfollow Ryan Reynolds on Instagram was dissected by fans like a forensic investigation. Screenshots were shared, timelines were scrutinized, and theories ran wild. Was this an act of solidarity with Taylor? A subtle way of saying, we're not on your side anymore. The unfollow may have been digital, but its implications were deeply personal. And it wasn't just Ryan who found himself on the wrong end of this social media cold shoulder. Fans noticed that Blake was still following Taylor, but not Travis. that small detail that spoke volumes about where allegiances might lie. All the while, Taylor remained silent, her Instagram as polished and curated as ever, but insiders claimed that behind closed doors, she was reeling. The betrayal, the legal drama, the public spectacle, it was all taking a toll. Sources revealed that Taylor felt deeply hurt by being dragged into the legal dispute, describing it as a situation she never wanted to be part of. And yet here she was, her name splashed across headlines in connection to a scandal that wasn't hers. It was a stark reminder that even the most carefully guarded lives can be upended by the actions of others.
Like I said, this feels a little bit like a cop-out, and I think it's more likely that what she's doing here is trying to stay out of it. This is the Taylor Swift movement. This is likely a legal strategy. I don't want to be involved in this case.
Blake, for her part, reportedly issued a heartfelt apology to Taylor, acknowledging the pain her actions had caused. But by then, the damage was done. The apology may have been genuine, but it couldn't erase the betrayal Taylor felt. Nor could it undo the public perception that Blake had used her friendship with Taylor as leverage in a personal battle. And while the two women have reportedly mended fences to some extent, the shadows of this drama still linger. Their once unbreakable bond now feels fragile, held together by apologies and a shared history that may not be enough to fully repair what's been broken. As the dust settles, or more accurately, refuses to settle, one thing is clear. This feud is far from over. The legal battle between Blake and Justin is still unfolding, with new twists and revelations emerging at every turn. And with Taylor's name now caught in the storm, the fallout is rippling far beyond the courtroom. Friendships are being tested, alliances are shifting, and the stakes are higher than ever. What was once a golden era of friendship has now become a tangled web of betrayal, legal drama, and public spectacle. And if you thought the story couldn't get any more complicated, just wait. The next chapter promises to dive even deeper into the chaos, revealing just how far-reaching the consequences of this feud truly are.
And one of the most significant allegations in Baldoni's lawsuit is that Lively sought to gain control over the editing process of the film. This is important.
And just when you thought the drama couldn't get any messier, the legal battle itself took center stage, and it's shaping up to be nothing short of catastrophic for everyone involved. Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni isn't just a courtroom showdown. It's a full-blown Hollywood spectacle, with careers, reputations, and even friendships hanging in the balance. Every day seems to bring a new twist, a fresh betrayal, another jaw-dropping revelation that leaves the industry buzzing and fans clutching their pearls. What started as a bitter dispute over alleged misconduct has spiraled into something so toxic, so explosive, that it's dragging everyone in its orbit down with it, and no one is coming out clean.
Now, I will say, it is also interesting that the defendants in this answer also admit that they sent text messages. I mean, when Lively produced copies of these text messages that she got through a subpoena, there's really nowhere else to go on that. You got to admit that you sent these, but it doesn't mean that Baldoni and the other defendants will agree to the context or the characterization that was laid out by Blake Lively. For instance,
at the heart of it all is Blake's allegations against Baldoni, a laundry list of claims that paint a damning picture of what went down during the production of It Ends With Us. From her perspective, she wasn't just battling creative differences. She was fighting for her dignity in an environment that grew increasingly unbearable. Her lawsuit accuses Baldoni of creating a hostile atmosphere on set, one where boundaries were repeatedly pushed and professionalism seemed to take a backseat to personal agendas. And while Blake's claims are shocking on their own, it's the way Baldoni has responded that's turned this legal battle into a war of attrition, a brutal fight where both sides are throwing everything they have at each other.
And he says, look, this is just, Hollywood is based on pure fear, cultivated by both of them and their very powerful friends in entertainment.
Baldoni didn't just deny Blake's accusations, he countersued with a vengeance. His legal team came out swinging, filing a massive lawsuit that accuses Blake, Ryan Reynolds, and their publicist of orchestrating a smear campaign to destroy his career. According to Baldoni, Blake wasn't the victim. She was the aggressor, using her influence and connections to manipulate the narrative and turn the industry against him. His lawsuit even goes so far as to claim that Blake weaponized her relationships, including her friendship with Taylor Swift, to pressure him into creative decisions he didn't agree with. It's a bold, almost audacious counterattack, one that shifts the spotlight back onto Blake and raises uncomfortable questions about how far she was willing to go to get her way. And here's where things get even murkier. Baldoni's countersuit includes a treasure trove of alleged text messages, emails, and behind-the-scenes accounts that he claims prove his version of events. In one particularly contentious example, Baldoni accuses Blake of commissioning her own private edit of the film, bypassing his creative authority and undermining his role as director. He alleges that she used her producer credit as a power play, essentially hijacking the project and turning it into her personal vision. And while Blake has publicly denied these claims, calling them baseless and retaliatory, the very existence of these allegations has cast a long shadow over her reputation.
Now you have two sides here, right? So Baldoni says this was all an effort to hijack the film to get her way. Lively claims she was the victim of harassment in a hostile work environment.
But perhaps the most damning accusation in Baldoni's countersuit is his claim that Blake's team deliberately leaked negative stories about him to the press, framing him as unprofessional and difficult to work with. Baldoni's lawyers argue that this was part of a calculated strategy to discredit him and shift public sympathy toward Blake. They'd even pointed to specific media outlets and articles they believe were planted by her publicist, painting a picture of a coordinated effort to destroy his credibility. Whether or not these claims hold up in court remains to be seen, but they've already done significant damage in the court of public opinion. For every fan rallying behind Blake, there are others who are starting to question her motives, wondering if she really is the innocent victim she claims to be, or if there's more to the story than she's letting on.
But this is such a interpretation of perspective, because I watched the footage, and I'm sure we all have, and it's very easy to argue.
What's more, Baldoni's legal team has claimed that Blake's alleged smear campaign wasn't just limited to the press. It extended to the set itself. Court documents filed by Baldoni's attorneys allege that Blake privately approached key crew members during production, encouraging them to document any grievances they had against Baldoni. These allegations suggest she was building a case against him long before her public accusations surfaced, laying the groundwork for what Baldoni's team describes as a preemptive strike. One affidavit reportedly submitted to the court claims that a crew member overheard Blake referring to Baldoni's decisions as an amateur power trip, adding fuel to the fire of an already contentious working relationship. If true, this paints a picture of a production that was doomed by mistrust and manipulation from the start.
Well, I don't think it would be what it was, because this whole thing has just come off as like a very odd episode. Like you're the actor in the movie. Normally, when you signed up to act in it, you didn't sign up to be the co-writer or anything like that. So the whole thing, and then like doing your own edit, like
You're talking about Blake Lively's behavior on this, basically.
Yeah, like that.
Adding to the drama, Baldoni's countersuit includes an email exchange that allegedly shows Blake threatening to pull out of promotional obligations for the film unless Sony Pictures agreed to her demands. According to Baldoni's lawyers, these demands included everything from how her name was to be displayed in the film to her insistence on being the sole voice in final interviews about the project's creative direction. The email reportedly reads, "If I don't feel like my input is respected, I don't see why I should be the one putting myself out there to defend this film." Baldoni's team has seized on this as evidence of Blake's alleged attempts to dominate the production and diminish his role as both director and co-star. Sony has remained tight-lipped about these claims, but insiders suggest the studio is less than thrilled about being dragged into the mudsling. And then there's Taylor Swift, caught in the crossfire of this legal nightmare. Baldoni's lawsuit names her explicitly, claiming that she played a key role in backing Blake's rewrites and pressuring him to accept changes he wasn't comfortable with. According to Baldoni, Taylor's involvement wasn't just a casual favor for a friend. It was a power move, one that added immense pressure to an already tense situation. And while Taylor has yet to publicly comment on Baldoni's accusations, the mere mention of her name has fueled speculation and further complicated an already messy situation. Is she a bystander who got dragged into this chaos, or was she an active participant in the behind-the-scenes drama? The lack of clarity has only heightened the intrigue, leaving fans and critics alike scrambling to piece together the truth.
Her PR team, if you're her agents, if you are her lawyer, you are saying to her, you need to be neutral. You need to stay out of this thing.
Meanwhile, the fallout for Blake has been swift and severe. Industry insiders are reportedly distancing themselves from her, wary of getting caught up in the drama. Behind closed doors, there's talk that her reputation has taken a significant hit, with some questioning whether she'll be able to recover from the backlash. Even her staunchest supporters are finding it harder to defend her as more details emerge, and the whispers about her being difficult are growing louder. It's an ironic twist for someone who spent years cultivating an image of effortless grace and likability, an image that now feels dangerously close to shattering. But let's not forget about Baldoni, who's far from unscathed in all of this. While he's managed to rally a small contingent of supporters, many in the industry are viewing his countersuit as a desperate attempt to salvage his reputation. The allegations against him, whether true or not, have already tarnished his name, and the sheer ugliness of this legal battle has made him a polarizing figure. For every person who believes his side of the story, there are others who see him as a textbook example of a Hollywood power player pushing boundaries and refusing to take accountability. His career, much like Blake's, is hanging by a thread, and it's unclear whether either of them will emerge from this ordeal with their reputations intact.
You've been following the Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively thing?
Bro, Blake Lively, talk about ruin your reputation, and Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, they f***ed up. Ryan's trying to get out of it now. He's trying to get out of the lawsuit, and they're like, you were a key part of this.
And as the trial date looms closer, the stakes are only getting higher. Both sides are digging in, preparing for what promises to be a grueling courtroom battle that could redefine their careers and reshape public perception. The legal teams are gearing up for a fight to the finish, and the industry is bracing for the fallout. Will Blake manage to prove her case and vindicate herself in the eyes of the public? Or will Baldoni's countersuit expose cracks in her narrative and turn the tide in his favor? The answers remain elusive, but one thing is certain. This is a fight neither side can afford to lose. And then there's the collateral damage. The friendships, the alliances, the trust that's been broken in the process. Taylor Swift may not be the one sitting in court, but her involvement has already left its mark. The same goes for Ryan Reynolds, who finds himself dragged into a controversy that seems to grow more toxic by the day. The ripple effects of this legal battle are spreading far and wide, leaving no one untouched. It's a reminder that in Hollywood, nothing is ever as simple as it seems, and that even the most tightly knit friendships can unravel when the stakes are high enough.
So Blake and Ryan are all out of cards, and they've got nothing to prove this right now.
So, what do you think? Is Blake a victim fighting for justice? Or is Baldoni's countersuit exposing a darker side to her story? And how does Taylor Swift's involvement change the narrative? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into Hollywood's most shocking scandals. Until next time, stay tuned because this story is far from over.